Okay, everybody. Again, I think we've waited here a couple minutes. It's about a couple minutes past the hour, so let's go ahead and get started. So first, again, my name is Trent Vance from Avtex. I am a contact center analytics consultant. Okay, so I've been about 15 years or so, give or take, in the contact center industry, both as a customer of what was formerly Interactive Intelligence, now Genesis, also as an agent inside the Interactive Intelligence, now Genesis contact center support organization, and that entire time always focused on data analytics, what numbers mean, what they don't mean, why why don't the historical reports match the real-time ICBM supervisor metrics that you might be looking at there, all the way up to product management, technical sales, team lead, and all that good stuff there in between. So let's go ahead and talk about what analytics are, and that is basically a key component of not only the contact center, but also the customer experience. Okay, so you're going to hear a lot about customer experience if you haven't already in the previous months. It seems there's a super big push for customer experience, for journey mapping, things like that, AI, and all those things are nothing if we can't look at a report or some sort of statistical data to tell us how our customers are responding. Okay, how are they responding to our brand, or how are they responding to our customer support? Okay, so in order to improve as a company, we need to understand the current landscape. We need to take that data and really make decisions based on that data, okay, for more results, and then define our success as we continue to go. Okay, so remember, as analytics continue to go and mature, we're always going to have to go back, maybe look at the previous quarter, the previous month, and adjust. Okay, so it will be a sliding target. Okay, so I see a lot of folks on the attendee list here, several I've worked with before, some that I haven't worked with before. So if you have worked with me, whether it's been on site or even on the phone or in another webinar, you probably have remembered, or hopefully you remembered, my wouldn't it be cool ifs, right? Okay, so these are basically just some questions that I get a lot, and I kind of frame it around, wouldn't it be cool if I could export a report and just see raw data without graphs and without manipulating Excel files, so I can do my own manipulations. Okay, wouldn't it be cool if, and this is a big one that I've heard for well over a decade within PureConnect specifically, is, wouldn't it be cool if I could run a report and look at my license usage, show me my license usage over time, so I can see the ebb and flow of my ACD Media 3 licenses, or when do I need to go purchase more licenses for my cyclical industry or my cyclical activity there. Wouldn't it be cool if I could slice and dice data based on time of day, based on agent or work group name, day of week, drill down through not only monthly or quarterly, but be able to drill down, look at a high level view maybe of past year, drill down to the quarter, to the month, to the week, to the day, and really see what's happening and kind of focus in on any sort of anomalies that I might be having in my data or in my contact center. Okay, what if I could see where my calls are actually transferring to? So yes, we get calls. Sometimes those calls have to be transferred. Out of the box with PureConnect, I can tell you that a call came into the customer support work group and that it was transferred, but I can't tell you where it went. Okay, so there have been some new additions to the data model recently in recent releases that will allow you to tell not only where that call was transferred, but who transferred it. How long was it in the queue before it was transferred? Same with abandons, right? So how long was that call in a queue before it was abandoned? If it was just a few seconds, maybe I don't need to dock my service level for that. Okay, let's remove those short abandons, and that's something we can talk about today and really take into account when it comes to things like our historical work groups. Okay, so one of those very first tools that came out about a year ago or so, give or take, a year and a half, was the Data Extractor. Okay, so I've got some screenshots here. Depending on your viewing medium, if you're looking at a projector today, maybe huddled around a conference room eating popcorn because this is going to be the most exciting thing you're going to do all day, it might look okay. If you are huddled around a laptop or looking at your laptop, it might be a little bit smaller. But I have, or we will go on and I will show kind of a walkthrough of that Data Extractor tool. But it is basically a tool that will allow you as a supervisor or you as an admin the ability to open up your favorite web browser, map out to a URL, log in, select a table or tables that you want to export. You can look at certain fields. You can grab all the fields of that table or of those tables and have it export to a raw CSV file. Okay, from there you import it into Excel, okay, or your Power BI instance or your other data tool there, and it will import, and then you can kind of manipulate that data as you see fit. Okay, so the question of why can't I just get raw data without graphs, things like that, you absolutely can, and a data extractor tool is a very powerful tool that will allow you to do just that. And like I said, we will be sure and walk through that here in just a minute. Okay, I am getting some questions here, so if you guys do have questions, feel free to use that that question pod there on your GoToWebinar slide bar. You can send those to me privately. You can also send those out to the other attendees, but certainly feel free to just send those questions in, and I will answer those just as soon as they come in. Okay, but before we move on, do we have any questions so far that may have popped up? Anything that the folks might want to have answered at a high level before we jump into the next phase of the webinar? No? Okay. Oh, I got a question here. Can we go directly at the SQL Server database? Absolutely, you can, and that's something that Aptex can help you with. Now, if you have that expertise in-house, certainly, any Genesis engineer, any Aptex engineer will tell you that once that data is written to the database, your data is your data, and we are hands off, right? So, other than the purging statements that come out of the box, we will not touch that data after it gets inserted. But you absolutely, if you wanted to, like I said, if you have that expertise in-house, if you wanted to write your own script or stored procedure or just parameterized query there, you certainly can do that directly against the database. Depending on the query, though, I will caution you, if you do that against a production database and it is a very, we'll say an intense query, it might have some ramifications, but that is definitely something that you can certainly do. Very good question. Okay, guys, so let's go ahead. Wouldn't it be cool if we could attend a webinar and rather than be PowerPointed to death, actually see the new and functional tools in real time? Absolutely, I think that would also be extremely cool, so let's just go ahead and do that. So give me just a minute here. I'm going to transition into some tools. Okay, and the first thing we're going to look at there is that data extractor. So let's see, got another question here, and it actually involves the data extractor, so fantastic timing. The question is, does the data extractor have any negative impact on production? So it depends. Okay, the data extractor is certainly one, and we're looking at it right here. I've already logged in. You can see my job execution history, as well as my pending jobs, of which right now I have none. Okay, what you can do is you can actually schedule these queries to go in, run that query against the database, and then log the outcome, which would be a CSV file, the output of that, to a directory on your network or on your PureConnect server. Now, if you are a 24/7 environment, you might not want to schedule a bunch of jobs, right, at your busiest time. It will not necessarily impact your PureConnect server as far as calls coming in, flowing around, getting assigned to agents. It may impact your database server. Okay, so you might see some read times spike on your database server. It might lead, in rare instances, I will say, it might lead to maybe some PMQ files, some failed inserts because your database is just too busy reading the data from your data extractor to insert new data from the PureConnect server. So it is possible. but that would be something that I would probably say would only happen in rare situations, that it would impact your database server. Okay, but very good question. Okay, so I've already logged in here to the data extractor. We can see my my job execution history, and let's just run through one of my previous examples. So this was my webinar job schedule that I created just earlier this week, so we could all see an output of the CSV file. So if I click on that successful job, we're going to kind of get a little timeline here. We see that it was queued about 2:05 in the afternoon. It started there at 2:05:51, and it was done there in about 5 seconds. And we can see here, if I expand my selected items, I just pulled basically everything from the iAgent QStats view, okay, for that particular interval, okay. Now, in my particular example here, I pulled all the columns from the iAgent QStats view. That might be too much of what you need, right? You might not need every single column. Okay, you might just need a few columns, and you can certainly do that. So let's go ahead, we're going to close out, and we will just walk right through here. We'll see if it asks me to log in again. It might. Okay, nope, looks like we're going to go ahead on over. So let's go ahead, and this time, instead of looking at the iAgent QStats, let's go down. Look at maybe our iWorkgroup QStats. So from here, I select the data set there. I can certainly start typing in to filter columns. I can also just grab columns and kind of move them over kind of single-handedly if I want to. But if I want to grab all those columns, I'm just going to hit that top arrow button, and we can next through there. From here, you can select your start and end date to kind of filter that extraction. So if you want everything from just a certain interval, everything from, say, last week, this week, week to date, things like that, we can certainly do that as well. We're just going to keep the default values for the purposes of the demo there and move over to next. Okay, type in a job name. Okay, job names go here, and I'll go ahead and click submit. We do want to submit, so let's go ahead and do that. And then we can see that moves in the into the pending job section on that data extractor. Now, from there, once that execution finishes, there we go. We see it started to run there. It will move down to job names go here. So let me go ahead, and I'm going to bring up an Excel document. Now, this is going to be from my iAgent QStats example. So this would be very similar data to what we just ran. It's just agent level data instead of workgroup data. But I'm going to drag this over here. So this is just the raw data from the iAgent QStats, okay, that we ran earlier this week. So from here, I can manipulate columns if I want to. I can group, sort, filter, whatever I need to do to make this, you know, my report. Okay, I can also certainly jump in and start using the Excel functions right there within the CSV. But when you ask the question, you know, wouldn't it be cool if I could run a report or grab data without graphs and, you know, column headings and filters and groups and merges and all that good stuff? Absolutely. The Data Extractor tool is a fantastic tool to do that. Okay, we got another question here. What release did the Data Extractor tool come out in? I want to say that's 2017 R1. Okay, so 2017 R1. If there's time here at the end of the webinar, I will get a I will get 100% for you on that. If any of my internal colleagues that might be visiting here want to go out and grab me that 100% answer, I'm 98.72% sure that it's 2017 R1, but I'll be sure and get you 100% on that as well. Got a couple questions here regarding to Data Extractor licensing. Is there additional licensing needed to run the Data Extractor? So yes, you will need to be licensed for that. Now I will want to probably double check for you. There was talk of lumping that in with the supervisor license. So if you are licensed for the report, view, and supervisor, you can also be licensed for the Data Extractor tool. But if you are on 2017 R1 or later with the Data Extractor tool license, you can actually go into Interaction Administrator, Users, select a user, click the Licensing tab, and you would give that Data Extractor license to a user just like you give them licenses to the Historical Report Supervisor plugin, for example. Okay, but it will be there. So can you join tables? Another question, another really good question. Can you join tables with the Data Extractor tool? So the Data Extractor tool will pull out all the data from a table or view that you need to join that data on. There are also certain views that you could extract that tables are already joined on. The Data Extractor itself will not join tables. Okay. Now you can use it to take advantage of tables, like I said, already joined, and things like that, and views right there as well. But yeah, very, very good question. And that is correct. So if you are not currently running 2017 R1 or later, it will not be available in your environment. You would need to schedule an upgrade. If you have the expertise in-house to handle that upgrade, that is fantastic. If not, certainly Avtex can help you out with that as well. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I minimize the Data Extractor tools you may have seen. I'm going to pull over another PowerPoint slide. No, just kidding, not yet. Anyway, so we are not going to jump back into PowerPoint. What we're going to do now is I am logged into a demo environment now within Power BI. Now, if you use Power BI, fantastic. If you use something else like Yellowfin, Tableau, ClickView, MicroStrategy, these are all basically BI tools that you can use to consume data and spit out dashboards and things of the like. Okay. One thing I did want to go through with you though was just some dashboards that we've created internally based on client requests, based on questions that our consulting group gets fairly heavily, as well as our CAM group, as well our account management team. Okay, what we're looking at now is basically an abandon dashboard that shows us, that focuses on IVR abandons, okay, while they are in our system. And what we can do is we can certainly have a look at the previous 12 months. Here we see our parameters up top from the IVR. Every time we kind of look at this dashboard from a high-level view, what it's doing is it's going through all the previous years, in this particular case, all the previous year's data. And then it is doing, all the calculations to give us the average abandon time, the max abandon time, the total number of abandons here in the banner. But what we can also do is we can look at our pie chart here, our circle graph, and over the previous year, if I want to focus in on just the abandons that happen on Friday, there might be some sort of an anomaly between Friday and Monday, right? Maybe on Monday, our customers are more apt to maybe listen on the phone more or maybe spend more time in the IVR, I guess I should say, because maybe they, have more energy at the beginning of the week, whereas their, give a hoot bone there on Friday is broken, okay? So what we can do is we can compare, for example, Monday to Friday, okay, over the previous year. I can come down, I can look at certain intervals there, within the 11 o'clock or 1 p.m. interval on all the Fridays previous. I can even come in our table here, and what we're looking at is maybe 2017 data with up to, or 2018 data up to basically, now, or the last time the dashboard was synced. And I can start drilling down. Okay, so now I'm looking at Q1 through Q4. I can then drill down even more and look at maybe January data, December data. I can click on, December data, and I can see the rest of the dashboard kind of sync up and look at just that December data. If I want to do the same thing for April, I can look at different, April data as well. So if I want to focus on maybe just the April data for the previous year that we only want to focus on Friday, I can certainly drill down to that as well. Yeah, I can even drill down and look at certain days in January or certain days throughout the year. Okay. Okay, so got another question here. This BI dashboard is running on a separate product using data extracted from CIC. Is that correct? So yes and no. This dashboard in particular is focused on PureConnect data. It is a separate product. If you wanted to, reach out to Aptex and at least get more details on Power BI and how all that works and how it works within PureConnect, you can certainly do that. Like I said, if you are currently a customer of Tableau, or if you have licenses for, MicroStrategy or ClickView, it could be within your power, again, depending on licensing, to create something very similar. Also, within the Power BI dashboard we're looking at here, to be able to get in there, create your dashboard, work with us to get maybe a standard dashboard or a custom dashboard created. And then if you wanted to go in and customize, build your own, move things, tweak things, that's only $10 per user per month. Okay, so it's pretty hard to kind of beat that price. Now, but to answer your question, is Power BI a separate tool? Yes, it is a Microsoft tool that Aptex is extremely versed in, that we use day in and day out for customers to help them understand their data and kind of help direct their business. Okay, direct that customer experience. Okay. It can also be used in conjunction with Data Extractor to filter through that CSV. Okay, so CSVs are great. They allow me to open them up in Excel without all the graphs and merged fields and things that I don't like to deal with. What you could do is you could schedule Data Extractor to push a CSV weekly or nightly into a certain location, and then point Power BI at those CSVs in that direction and create your own dashboard. But yeah, absolutely all those things that we can do here with Power BI. Okay, if I click on the tabs down here at the bottom, we're still in the abandoned frame of mind here, but now what we're doing is we're actually looking at all the abandons that did not happen in the IVR. Okay, so immediately my average abandon time goes from seconds up to 8 minutes. My maximum abandon time was just over 11 hours. We're still looking at the previous 12 months, abandons by day. But what I can do now, right now we're looking at every single queue, at all queues of all types on the platform. I can sort those queues here, okay? I can sort by abandon. I can click on maybe our support queue and see the rest of the dashboard kind of filter down. I can also come up here and say, you know what? I only want to look at work group queues, okay? And I only want to look at support, or maybe support and test if there was test data there. Okay, and I can see the rest of the dashboard filter down, okay? Now, if I remove the work group only, what could be possible if I wanted to was I could focus in on my agent queues. Okay, so we're looking at abandons now, but if I want to look at agent data, maybe compare agent QA data to survey data from customers, QA data being their supervisor has went in and recorded them and kind of scored some of them. I could compare those scores to the survey data that customers take through interaction feedback. That's absolutely something I can do with our dashboards and see if there's any sort of anomalies there. Maybe the supervisor scored their agent extremely well, and maybe I could find that call where the customer got off the call, performed a survey, and the survey was anything but extremely well. Okay, so definitely something that I can do, and Power BI is going to help us, and Aptex can certainly help you bring about those anomalies. But again, much like our previous dashboard, I can focus in on certain aspects of the dashboard, certain days or certain work groups where I can say, hey, just show me everything across all my queues for Wednesday. Okay, so all sorts of things there. I can look at different flow outs. So why are calls flowing out of the queue? Where are they flowing out to? Certainly something that I can do. Okay, so I know we've only got a few minutes left. One thing I do want to show you that I mentioned I would show you here is some PureConnect license data. Okay, so within a previous release, if you were on a certain release and you go in and into Interaction Administrator to turn it on, you would be able to go in and move licensing data as well as change log data And when I say change log, I'm not referring to the IA change log that's been there since PureConnect GA, but rather an enhanced administrator change log that will tell me who changed what on the user, what the previous value was, what the current value is, what licenses do they have, what rights and privileges do they have in the system. Okay, all that information, like I said, including licensing, is now in the database if a client chooses to go in and turn them on. But what this allows me to do is we can go in, and let's say we want to pick maybe a super awesome individual, click on their particular name, see what licenses they have. Are they active? Are they inactive? Okay, do they really need that ACD Media 3 Plus, or is it just a leftover from when they were in support, but now they have moved to a different department, and I can free up that license? Okay, these are all questions that that you can go in and you can answer with the right type of knowledge, and Aptex can certainly help you with that. Another type of question might be, well, it looks like I have a few Media 3 Plus licenses. Who all has those licenses? Okay, so we can come down here, we can click on the Media 3 Plus, and I can certainly see all the users that have been assigned that license on my platform. So if that user maybe is no longer with the company, or like I said, got promoted, or certainly moved to another moved to another department, I can go in and I can see that with just a couple clicks. I can go in and then answer the question, is it okay to remove that license from that user so I can give it to a new hire? Yes, it absolutely is, or maybe no, it's certainly not. Okay. Now we can certainly go in even further to an admin tracker type view of licensing. So I'm still looking at the same data, it's just presented a little bit differently. I can still focus on a certain user, I can still focus on a certain license, but what we're doing now is in the top right hand corner of this dashboard is we're going in and we're actually seeing, hey, these are the ebb and flow of my licenses. Okay, this particular graph, all the green is basically I added a license, and the red is basically I took it away. So what I can say is, all right, I can focus on ACD Media 3 licenses, and I can see here we haven't taken any away. In the real world, through a cyclical environment, when we're answering questions about attrition, we will certainly see some licenses be removed, right? So now I can see, okay, these are how many licenses I have. These are how many I tend to ebb and flow maybe over the previous 2 years. So we're coming up to the end of the year, Christmas time, holiday time. I'm going to need to be able to go in and make sure that I have the appropriate amount of licenses left, because I know that our traffic is going to spike. Okay, so certainly all things that we can take into account with the right type of driver at the wheel, right? When we're certainly looking at our data correctly, and we are relying on that data to kind of drive some business there and kind of answer some questions for us. These are all things that that we can do. Now let me go ahead and transition back here. So give me just 1 minute. Okay, looks like we did not keep my place in line, so let me just zip on through here. We talked about all these things that would certainly be cool. We transitioned to the demo. So let me go ahead and make sure we've got all of our questions answered. Do I know what version of PureConnect licensing data is available to send to the database? Very good question. I do. I want to say it first showed up in, I want to say 2015 R4, but it actually went through an update. And if you wait until, I want to say it's 2016 R2 or 2016 R4-ish, you get a little bit more bang for your buck. So if you are currently on one of those versions or later, you are in good shape. If you are thinking about upgrading and kind of tossing around which release to upgrade to, if you have the option, some folks tend to put on a little bit older releases after they've been out in the field a little longer. I would probably wait until you were able to kind of have a look at those release notes and make sure that the features you want are certainly in the product. Okay. Okay, so another question, how is Power BI obtainable? Okay, so Power BI can be gathered directly. You can download Power BI Desktop for free from the web, from Microsoft. That will allow you to create dashboards and things on your local machine. However, Power BI as a service is the $10 per user per month charge that we talked about earlier in the demo, And that will allow you to, once you are done creating those local dashboards, publish them out to a service, to your website, to your web page, and also be able to go in and customize those dashboards directly from the web and kind of, assign rights and access. Now, if you have that expertise in-house, that is certainly something that you could do today. If not, Avtex can certainly help you with that as well. We can do everything from create the dashboard for you to just consult and maybe answer questions on certain data aspects that you have there in-house as well. Okay, another question here. Are there things we can do to our system to make it more robust and avoid some of the PMQ file issues that can occur when needing to run bigger queries and not at not so ideal times of the day? Absolutely. That is a fantastic question. If there was a handful, if I could pick just 2 or 3 questions to build a career on, that would certainly be one of them. And absolutely there is. That is a very broad question, and there are certainly many ways that it could be answered. Typically, when PMQ files are being generated, now this is typically, they are, as you said, created at not so ideal times of the day, so busy times, okay? When the PureConnect system creates PMQ files, it basically is saying, hey, the PureConnect says, hey, database, insert this information. The database says, I'll try if I can get to it in a certain amount of time. It looks like I can't, I didn't make it. And the PureConnect system says, okay, we're gonna hold this until they can be reprocessed. So more than likely, you are in what I would call a high read, high write database environment. Things can be done, everything from creating mirror instances to creating server farms to moving the database into the cloud. Those are all sorts of things. The thing I would probably recommend would be have a look at your Windows perfmon data, focus in on your Q read and Q write IO links, and making sure that the value that you get from the perfmon data is n+1, where n is the number of disks in your hopefully RAID 10 array. Okay, so if you do not have RAID 10, make sure in your database server that you are running a RAID 10, and your IO read and write queue links fall within those acceptable parameters. That is a pretty loaded question, though. I would like to take that a little deeper. So if you would like to reach out to your CAM, certainly you can do so. If you want to have a more detailed discussion, we are certainly here to help. Okay. Got another question here. And I think this is the last question, guys. I think I've got everything else answered. So we will just say this is the last question is, the $10 is to publish, create the Power BI reports. Is a license needed to view and drill down on the reports? Good question, and no. So licensing report drill down is a feature of Power BI right out of the box, okay? So again, you could actually download Power BI Desktop and create a dashboard or even a report that allows you to drill down, much like I did in the demo with our, I believe it was our IVR abandoned data, for free. Okay, you can create that for free as long as you keep it on your local desktop. Now, the $10 per user per month, that comes in when we start talking about the Power BI service. Okay, so that is an option that you can, and when you go to download Microsoft Power BI, you will certainly get more information. But the $10 per user per month is an option that allows you to basically publish those locally created dashboards onto a service on the web and allow you to then distribute those accordingly. So if you wanted to, maybe if you are, I like to pick on Interaction Marquee. Let's say if you run an Interaction Marquee in your contact center and it's okay, or you've had issues with it and it's just not quite getting you what you need, you could create a dashboard, publish it to the web, open up a browser on that TV display in your contact center, and then allow Power BI to kind of be displayed there in the contact center on that TV, right? So if you wanted to do that and kind of allow the browser on the TV to go out and see that dashboard you created, complete with drill down, complete with maybe a scrolling ticker for, you know, stock symbols or even your local weather, you can certainly do that. You could do that locally for free, but as soon as you want to publish that out to the web, that's going to be the $10 per user per month. Okay, and again, we are always here. Avtex is always here to help you guys with any sort of questions you might have. Feel free to reach out to your account managers or your sales team. Tell them you attended the webinar and it was the best 30, 45 minutes, give or take, of your life today on Wednesday in the afternoon, in the early afternoon. And you know, tell them to shoot a question to me, or if you want to have a more direct call with me, we can certainly do that. My name is Trent Vance. You can also reach me at tvance@avtex.com. But again, reach out to your account managers, let them know what you think, and if you have any questions, thank you so much.